Welcome to another video, and thanks for tuning into this one. We just want to take the time to answer some of the questions that have been asked and I haven't had time to respond to. Most of these questions are really related to the Speedbird program, and I thought it's better just make a video and maybe address some of these questions. I know that new people subscribe to the channel, and I thank you for that on regular basis, and most of these questions end up coming back again, and I just want to take this time to address them. One thing that you need to understand about the program is that if you are not able to live and work in the UK, then you are likely not going to qualify. And the reason why I say likely is because you need the right to be able to live and work in the UK to apply to the program. So that's always a big factor, especially for international applicants. So I always get questions like, oh, I'm from India, can I apply? I'm from wherever, wherever you're from, that doesn't matter. The point is, do you have the right to live and work in the UK? So I think that's the biggest part of this. Now, the other important area that I would like to touch on, to take the time to touch on right now, is to address the ongoing assessment. All right, right now they're going through the final stage of the program, and I always say something, all right? If you are still looking for maybe resources to apply, then maybe you are on the back side of the curve, all right, in terms of how much knowledge you could have gained, how much preps you could have done. I mean, if you've made it to the final, you do have a lot of good things going for you. I mean, it's not easy to get to the final, and the truth about it is the final itself isn't something easy to go through. There are a lot of assessments that are done, and it's there to really push you to the limit, and that's just what I've gathered so far. And I'm going to answer some questions that I have here. So of course, if you find value in this one, don't forget to please like the video. And if you have questions, I always say the best way to reach me is through Instagram. I do have some that I have to respond to as well, but because it takes a lot of time, and if I'm working, it's hard for me to respond to all the questions all at once. So the best thing is sometimes just make a video like this and get it out there. The first one that I have here is, what resources can you be using? Now, it depends on what your goal is and how much you're willing to spend. I'll be honest with you. A lot of times there's so many resources out there, and they do cost a lot of money in order to prepare for some of the assessments. Now, we have what we call the technical test, and you guys that are on the final stage already know these assessments are coming up, and I'm sure you guys are already preparing. But you have to know that there are levels to this, all right? Some people are willing to spend $400 on preparing for an interview, and while some people don't want to spend anything, it all depends on where you fall in the spectrum and if you have the money to do so. So the resources are there for you. That's the point. And I'm not here to start pointing out those resources to you because, hey, I'm not affiliated with any of them. The only one I would always recommend is PASS, because again, I've used PASS myself, and I feel like they do a good job based on what they do, right? But that's really all I can say. And PASS, they do offer some preps, but when it comes to interviews, I wouldn't say that you should go for PASS because they don't really have much interview preps itself. But when it comes to like the assessments, when it comes to the aptitude test and things like that, then definitely I would recommend PASS on that one. The other thing I need to mention to you is they've recently updated the capacity test and something related to the PFD prep as well. So it's like a PFD prep and a capacity test as well. So if you haven't seen that, you can check it out. There's a link below to PASS website. You can check it out. Now understand that none of these programs or preps out there would give you the real thing. They are all there to help you have an idea of what to expect. And the more you're able to practice with these preps, there's always a point where no matter how much you practice, you don't get to see more benefits, if that makes sense. So the point is, the programs are there to simulate what the real thing is, but the real thing itself, from what I've gathered, it changes. All right, one, it changes, and two, it doesn't feel exactly as this simulated practice test you've taken on any of these programs. So understand that no matter how much practice you've done, the goal is to be able to go into that assessment knowing that, okay, everything I've practiced is there to just help me get an idea of what to expect, But taking the assessment on the real day, you have to be willing or flexible and adaptable to that environment and to the assessment itself, because like I said, it's going to feel different, it's going to be a lot different. And same thing with the interviews, and I talk about interviews a lot on this. I've made several videos on how you should approach certain questions, type of questions, but understand that this is the final assessment. It's not going to be easy. All right, they'll find ways to make you lose your train of thought. They will interrupt you, they will make you doubt yourself, they will make you lose that structure that is really important when you're answering the questions. And the structure, and I've given the examples of so many of these of ways in which you can structure your answers depending on type of question. It is very important that you stick to your structure, and depending on the competency, you have to be able to use the structure that applies. Otherwise, you may find yourself rambling, just waffling, and just saying things that doesn't apply, or repeating yourself. So your goal is to be able to start the information, all right, that you want to deliver, and take it from A to Z, all right, not starting from A and then jump to Z and then come back to B. You're kind of all over the place. You don't want that. That is really important, because especially when it comes to the communication competency. When it comes to problem-solving competencies or testing that competency, they want to see how you think on how you rationally go through problems and make a decision, okay, on that problem. And of course, always plan for the options on how you address uncertainties or things that may come up and how you plan to address it. And we always talk about the group exercise. Group exercise is another part that is tested on the final. You have to understand that the group exercise requires your ability to work with other people. So your goal isn't there to dominate the team, all right, and just take control of the whole process or the whole assessment or the exercise. Your goal is really to make sure that when you are in there, you want to work together as a team and succeed as a team. So that means you want to make sure that everybody is involved and you are not leaving anybody behind. And importantly, whatever you say or don't say can also count against you. So if, for example, your observable behaviors, all right, in the sense your mood and how you carry yourself and how you respond to questions and how engaging you are with your team members are also being observed. And if you are the type of person that you are very quiet in the group, or you are trying to do things on your own, those things will be observed and noted. And if you think about it, if you're in a group, how would you want your group to succeed together? How would you want that to happen? And what kind of leader would you be in a group? Okay, you have to understand the leadership styles that exist and see how you can showcase that leadership style within a group. Because at the end of the day, these people that are assessing you are generally pilots, captains, retired people, or maybe an HR person. So the point here is they're all trained to observe those behaviors. And if you are able to showcase those behaviors during the period, then you're likely to earn points in various competencies, and that's what you want. Otherwise, you may lose points, and that's what you don't want. Now, I want to give you guys some perspective. Last year, this 100 candidate that they select, 100 people or candidates that were chosen were people that did exceedingly well in terms of scoring high marks. Okay, so it's very important for you to keep that in mind as you go through this assessment. Your goal is to be able to show the best side of you, and hopefully you're able to get selected. And talking about getting selected, they hope the number they could take up to 200 candidates now. Now that doesn't mean that they will take 200 candidates. It just means that they can take up to 200 candidates. So I hope that you get selected. I wanted to just touch on some of these areas of the assessment again, because I know I've been getting some questions and I wanted to just address them. I hope that you found value in this one. If you have, don't forget to drop a like on the video, and I would love to see you in the next one.